I'm thinking about what I've missed in the audio biz over this past year of pandemic. And it hit me because now I'm starting to get it back. And what I missed is going to the stores that sell audio in New York City. There's lots of them, actually. We are so lucky to have such an intensely competitive market here in New York City. I mean, the store that I worked in for a long time, Sound by Singer, Innovative Audio, where I worked briefly, Lyric HiFi, which just passed just recently. It was more than a half century of business there. In Living Stereo, NoHo Sound. There's many. And Park Avenue Audio. There's a lot. I can't even count them all. So there's so many. But anyway, it's a healthy market here for high-end audio. And one by one, they're going to start to reopen their doors. Now, yes, Lyric just recently, less than a month ago, closed its doors. It was founded by a man named Mike Kay in the 1950s. He was truly a pioneer of sort of setting the form of what a high-end store should be. There were always stores selling different kinds of audio, and they were also selling refrigerators and TVs and stuff. But I mean a store that sold quality audio. So long before the term high-end audio was even coined, Lyric was there selling the good stuff. And what that means, you got to think about this, is searching it out, right? They basically created a market for products that most people didn't even know existed, Lyric sold Mark Levinson. I believe they were the first dealer for Mark Levinson, for Magnapan, for Audio Research, and were very successful and kept those lines for pretty much until they closed. So once they picked a line, they stuck with it, which is pretty impressive. So anyway, I interviewed Mike Kay for StirFi 12 years ago, maybe a little longer. Anyway, it was great to be in his presence and have this conversation, because that's one of the few stores in New York City that I didn't have a regular hang in. I didn't just go there and just drop in all the time. I did from time to time, and it wasn't on my regular routine of going to Lyric Hi-Fi. But anyway, so I had this nice conversation with Mike Kay about starting the business. Anyway, sweet guy, really sweet guy, very generous with his time with me. And for this piece for StirFi, I also interviewed Andrew Singer and also Elliot Fishkin from Innovative Audio. And those three interviews ran side by side in StirFi, and I will link to that article directly below. But anyway, it was a good piece. And, Elliot and Andy started their businesses in the 1970s. Elliot, then later Andy. And so they have so much knowledge of being around for so long. Same for Dave Wasserman at Stereo Exchange, who I've interviewed on this channel, and I will link to that right there. And what I loved about Dave Wasserman's interview that we did not that long ago, maybe 2 years ago, he said, I'm not an audiophile. This is Dave Wasserman. I'm not an audiophile, but he was saying, I've been in it so long, I know a lot about it. I know what people like. I know what makes my customers happy. I can be, Dave Wasserman was saying, I can be a dispassionate observer. I can be a dispassionate friend. I'm not charged up about it from personal use. I just know that people like such and such and such and such, right? Anyway, it was a fun interview because he was so cool about the way he discussed audio. Anyway, I know Dave Wasserman for a really long time. And then there's Steve Mishu over at In Living Stereo. And there's a store I do hang out in, or I did hang out on a regular basis. And he's younger than the other guys that are in the business, owners of stereo stores in New York City. And he has a younger clientele, a little hipper. And he really, his choices of what lines to carry and what lines he doesn't carry, I mean, it's evolved over time. But that's one of the things that makes for a successful retailer, is knowing what's going to work for their market, right? Who are their customers and what do they want? And one of the things I like about In Living Stereo, and I say this from hanging out there, is that most of their customers are younger, but most of their customers, it seems to me, are much more analog audiophiles than digital audiophiles. They sell digital stuff there and DACs and stuff, but there's a real passion behind directed at selling turntables and cartridges and tone arms and setting them up and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm talking to a guy, this happened so many times, who's 30, 35 years old, and I'll say, so you're into vinyl, huh? And he's like, yeah. Do you play any digital at home? No. I play when I'm outside, in my car, when I'm on my phone or whatever, but at home, no. At home, they're saying, I listen to records. Really? That's so interesting, because there's no nostalgia for you. You didn't grow up with it. It's not like you're longing to get back to it. You just are into vinyl because you're into vinyl because you enjoy playing it and what it sounds like. Pretty much, yeah, that's it. That's the way it's working for them. That's really impressive to me, right? And the older people that sell audio, they're the ones who are selling proportionately more digital stuff, right? The newer format is sold more by the older guys. Now, they're also selling turntables. I don't want to say that they're not. But their clients, for the most part, are older and less likely to want to get up off the couch or whatever. So they're buying DACs and transports or streamers or something, right? There's two other New York City shops I will mention, and one is Audio Arts. It's owned by a man named Gideon Schwartz. And Gideon's place is very upscale. Beautiful layout, really gorgeous. He gets great sound, and he's basically going for gear that's a little bit off the radar. He's not going for the obvious brands, and he knows how to make great sound, and he's a really sweet guy. So, got to give it up for Gideon, and also my pal Bob Vicentainer at Rhapsody. And Rhapsody, his listing room is just filled with really cool, also very, very expensive gear. And Bob's another one. He can get good sound, and he knows so much about audio, very high end, extreme brands. He's always looking for that next big thing. He goes out of his way to find that stuff, and he does. So usually not U.S. made, usually European, or Japanese. Anyway, Bob's a cool guy. I made some videos there, and I will link to one right there. So anyway, they're those guys. And again, it's their knowledge. When you buy from a store like that, Rhapsody, Audio Arts, Singer, Innovative Audio, you're not just buying a thing, a box. You're getting something from them, something that they've cherry-picked to get exactly the right brands to suit their customers. Oh, I have one other guy to talk about. No, two. John Rutan in Verona, New Jersey, Audio Connection. And John is amazing. He is so knowledgeable about setup of speakers and rooms and turntables. The guy is amazing. I didn't make a video with him. My friend Mark did, and I posted it recently. I'll link to it right there. Wow, what a beautiful human being. And then, on the West Coast, there's Kevin Deal. His shop is called Upscale Audio. I've never been there, but I've gotten into nice, long, detailed conversations with Kevin about tube electronics, and why he carries this and doesn't carry that, and just very intense and very, very knowledgeable. And that's it. There's a common thread. The people who are successful in the audio business, and certainly successful store owners, have to be deeply, deeply passionate about what they do. I want to take a brief little side trip about a memory. I had this guy, a customer, well, not exactly a customer, a guy who would come to the store, Sound by Singer, where I was working, and he would hang out in the store. and just, can I hear that? Can I hear that? Steve, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I just got kind of tired of him just being there all the time. I said, Frank, his name was Frank. Frank, I got to do work. I just can't answer your questions because you're not really a customer. You're just a guy who hangs out in a store. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, one day he comes in and he says, do you have a cartridge, a phono cartridge, Dynavector Ruby? I think that's what it was. I said, yeah. And he said, I'll buy it. I said, fantastic, So I sold it to him. And he said, great, now I'm a customer. Now you have to talk to me. This actually happened. And I was like, whoa, man. But as far as I can recall, that was the only thing he ever bought. And after that, he had license, so to speak, to come back and hang and stuff. Okay. But anyway, time passes. And then one day he comes to the store. And he says to me, Steve, I got big news for you. And I said, really? Tell me. Share the news, Frank. And he said, well, I'm going to be working in a new store that's opening in New York City. And so we're going to be competitors. I said, oh, congratulations. Good luck to you, And but there was just something about the way he said it. And I said, Frank, you know what? I hope, here's my wish for you in your new store. I hope you have a lot of customers that are just like you. The undercurrent there is, yes, a lot of people who come to your store to hang out and never actually buy anything. Well, as luck would have it, that store, I honestly, I can't remember the name of the store, did not last very long, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years, not because he had customers that didn't buy anything, but just for other reasons, which I honestly don't know. Because once he was a competitor, I really didn't see him that much. I just know that store did not stick around all that long. Which leads to the next point of this little diatribe, and that is, if you do have a local store, or a store that's easy enough for you to get to, and you're reasonably nice people and stock gear that you're interested in, I urge you strongly to support them, because it's tough going out there in the world, in the audio world in general, and in brick and mortar certainly in general. And if they're good people and can provide service and stock products that you're interested in, please buy from them as opposed to going to the store, listening, asking for demos, and then buying it online or buying it from another dealer in another state. That's just not right? Because if they are providing service, they deserve to be supported for that, right? It's a tough business, the audio business. When you're buying from these stores, all the stores that I mentioned today, you're not just buying a product. You're buying something that needs some hand-holding to make it work, to bring out its best. And that's where the talent reservoir that's in these shops really comes into play, right? So I think we've done it. My name is Steve Guttenberg. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show. If you like what I do here, as I've said many, many times, please consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. Hit that button right over there. When you do, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time there is an amazing new episode. You can also follow me on Instagram at steve.guttenberg. And I make shorter videos there on IGTV. Not edited, just sort of wham bam ideas that I put on IGTV. I'm also on Twitter at AudiophiliacMan. And on Twitter I put up, what's running through my mind at any given time, or records that I'm listening to, or CDs, or streams that I'm listening to, that sort of thing. You could also check out my Patreon at patreon.com/audiophiliac. So I think we're done. I think we have put another one to bed. Thank you again for watching, and I really, really do hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Bye-bye.